At the end of this chapter, you'll be able to describe the function of the Traffic Collision Avoidance System, identify and explain the controls and displays, interpret the symbology, understand the possible failures, identify and explain the TCAS control box, understand the recommended operation, know the limitations of the system. The TCAS is an onboard system designed as a supplementary aid to the flight crew in order to detect the presence of a nearby aircraft and to reduce the risk of mid-air collisions between aircraft. By interrogating other aircraft equipped with an operative transponder mode A, C, or S, the TCAS can identify and display on the TCAS VSI potential and predicted collision targets. The system also provides collision avoidance protection by means of traffic advisories, TA, and resolution advisories, RA. The traffic advisory alerts the flight crew by producing a specific oral warning. The resolution advisory, in addition to producing a specific oral warning, displays a recommended vertical speed on the TCAS VSI to avoid the collision with another aircraft. Be aware that air traffic control has the primary responsibility for avoiding mid-air collisions. The TCAS system consists of the following components: one TCAS transmitter receiver, two directional antennas, two ATC mode Sierra transponders, one ATC mode Sierra control unit, one TCAS control unit, two TCAS vertical speed indicators, four ATC mode Sierra antennas. The system interrogates the nearby aircraft transponders and uses the replies to calculate their predicted flight paths. This prediction is used to determine the possibility of a collision threat. The system also uses the mode Charlie altitude data from the other aircraft's transponders to compute their altitude information. Furthermore, the directional antennas are used to determine the direction of the other aircraft. When your aircraft and the other aircraft are TCAS equipped, both TCAS coordinate the advised maneuvers of the aircraft involved. Traffic advisories are generated for any intruder with at least an operative Mode A transponder, but resolution advisories are only generated if the intruder aircraft is equipped with an operative Mode Charlie or Sierra transponder. Note that the TCAS system provides no information of an aircraft not equipped with a functional transponder. The TCAS displays its data on the TCAS VSI. It is important to note that vertical speed function is never lost unless a failure in the instrument or its input data is lost. Let's talk about the TCAS controls available on the TCAS VSI. Two push buttons are installed on the instrument bezel. The display range selector, RNG, allows the selection between 6 nautical miles and 12 nautical miles range. The 6 nautical mile selection is recommended during takeoff, low-altitude climbs, approaches, and landings. It is recommended to use the 12 nautical mile range during high-altitude cruise. Since the TCAS system logic is based on time for the threat to reach a protection zone created around the airplane, any range selection will not affect the system to determine and issue a traffic advisory, TA. The normal TCAS surveillance for traffic is from 2,700 feet below the airplane to 2,700 feet above the airplane, present position, and no message is displayed on the instrument. The extended altitude surveillance status, or simply AB push button, allows the surveillance range to be increased above or below the airplane normal view. When ABV is selected, the view is expanded from 2,700 feet below to 9,900 feet above the present position of the airplane, and the flag ABV is displayed on the lower left side of the instrument. As the pilot selects BLW, the view is expanded from 2,700 feet above to 9,900 feet below the airplane's position, and the flag BLW is displayed. Some flags are displayed on TCAS VSI in order to inform the crew about a TCAS malfunction. The Resolution Advisory flag, RA fail, shows an indicator incapacity to display RAs or a recommended vertical speed in case a vertical maneuver becomes necessary. The TD fail flag indicates that an intruder cannot be displayed by the indicator. The TCAS off flag indicates that the TCAS is in standby mode. The TCAS fail flag appears if the TCAS computer fails and the test flag is displayed once the TCAS self-test is activated. TA only is displayed when the TCAS control box selector is set to the TA only position. The TCAS control box is located at the center pedestal. Let's first look at the rotary selector. 3 positions are available: standby, auto, and traffic advisories only. In position standby, the TCAS system is powered, but the TCAS functions are not operative. This means that no intruder visualization, traffic advisory, or resolution advisory is available. Note that the TCAS will also be in standby mode when the altitude reporting is off or if no valid mode Sierra transponder is selected. This is indicated by the flag Resolution Advisory Off on the TCAS vertical speed indicator. The auto position represents the normal position mode of the TCAS system. In position Traffic Advisory only, the Resolution Advisory mode is disabled, but you still receive intruder information and traffic advisories. Note that this mode shall only be used when required by the QRH. When necessary, the TCAS automatically changes to Traffic Advisory Only mode when the TCAS-equipped aircraft is below a certain altitude or has a degraded climb performance. The TCAS control box is also fitted with a self-test button. The TCAS test shall be performed during cockpit preparation. First, turn the rotary selector of the ATC control box to position standby. Then turn the rotary selector of the TCAS control box to position standby. Now press the test button on the TCAS control box and check if the TCAS vertical speed indicator can display the test pattern. In this lesson, we'll examine the use of the TCAS during ground operations. Note that the procedures described here shall be used unless otherwise instructed by ATC. First, perform the TCAS test during the cockpit preparation by pressing the test button on the TCAS control box.
TCAS system test OK.
While taxiing, you shall keep the standby mode on. Before commencing the takeoff roll, select Alt Mode and check that Air Traffic Control 1 is selected on the ATC transponder control box. Then select the Auto mode on the TCAS control box. After landing, as soon as clearing the runway, select the standby mode on the TCAS control box. The TCAS system is approved for VMC and IMC operations. In general, all resolution advisories are inhibited below 1,100 feet above ground level when the aircraft is climbing, and below 900 feet above ground level when the aircraft is descending. Observe that evasive maneuvers must not be initiated based on a traffic advisory only. The traffic advisory message is intended to be used only as assistance in visually locating the intruder traffic. Evasive maneuvers must not be performed in the opposite direction of the resolution advisory and shall be made with the autopilot disengaged. All evasive maneuvers must be limited to the minimum required to comply with the resolution advisory. When executing an evasive maneuver, the crew must inform air traffic control by stating TCAS RA, and once receiving the TCAS oral message,
Clear of conflict,
the crew shall inform ATC and return to the previous air traffic control clearance. Note that if the intruder traffic altitude information is lost during the resolution advisory, the TCAS oral message, Clear of conflict, will not be generated. Before complying with a resolution advisory requiring the aircraft to climb or to increase the rate of climb, the crew shall select the appropriate power setting on the Power Management Rotary Selector and, if necessary, adjust the power and condition levers. In case a climb or increased climb resolution advisory occurs in landing configuration or during the go-around phase, a normal go-around procedure should be performed, including the appropriate power increase and configuration changes. The TCAS system has a limited number of inputs to determine aircraft performance. Because of this, there are some situations where climb resolution advisory should be inhibited but is not. This leads to the fact that the TCAS may command maneuvers that may significantly reduce the stall margins or result in a stall warning. Be aware that in all cases, the stall warning must have priority over the resolution advisory commands. Two tables indicate the resolution advisory climb and resolution advisory increase climb inhibition schemes, one for normal conditions and another one for atmospheric icing conditions. Observe that the tables show for different aircraft configurations when the resolution advisory climb and the resolution advisory increase climb are inhibited or not. The following table indicates the flight envelope in which a climb resolution advisory can be accomplished without the stick shaker or stick pusher activation. Observe that this table shows for the different flight phases the aircraft weight, altitude, and temperature, engine power, the flaps and gear positions, and the initial and minimum airspeeds. Note that this table does not consider the worst flight conditions, especially operations using minimum operating airspeeds.